Bjork show up in the Book of Boba Fett.
Start your sublight engines. It's time for RuPaul's Pod Race, a queer Star Wars podcast. Welcome back to another week of chaos. My name is Mel. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on social media at Melvin Culpa. My gender of the week is Din Djarin getting his head bitten by the Rancor.
I like Jawbreaker Din Djarin.
I think he should paint his armor those colors. I think that'd be very funny. What if his armor was the colors of like a bowling alley carpet?
Listen,
that would be funky fresh, actually.
Then he'd be a he-him lesbian.
He would be a he-him lesbian. This is my pitch for the Ahsoka show. It opens. Din Djarin is there because Dave Filoni loves doing that thing where he just brings characters randomly into other shows. And Din is like, does this armor look okay? We pan out. Sabine Wren has just finished bowling alleying his fucking armor. And she's like, you're done. He-him lesbianification beam.
My name is Ollie. I use any pronouns. You can find me on social media at Ollie Fresh. It's fresh with a PH. And my gender this week is Peli Motto's missing tooth.
When her tooth fell out, I did scream.
I will let you guys know at this point, my secondary gender was going to be Peli and her new bestie, the Major Domo. Because at the beginning of the episode, I was like, before anything had even happened, I was like, you know who I think would be best friends? Those two. And then they were.
They're really gay lesbian solidarity, the two of them.
They are.
They're also comedic character in a crossover solidarity. It's very much and it's when there's a crossover and it's like, oh no, we're the two comedic it was very good.
They would get married for tax benefits.
Absolutely.
Period. Might I also just say, it has just occurred to me that I do think that the Book of Boba Fett in a lot of ways does remind me of the epic crossover event that was That's So Sweet Life of Raven. Or wait, no. That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. You're so right, though.
That's what it felt like.
Or is it more of a Victorious iCarly situation?
No, the reason I would say that it's That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana is because no. It's actually not That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. It's actually the wizard. I can't remember. It's the one where the Wizards of Waverly Place are on that's the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, but they're on the ship. And also, I think Hannah Montana is still there. It's some other show. Yeah. Anyways, that is the show because it's there was an epic crossover once. That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana, but the problem is that there's just something missing, and you're not quite sure what it is, and it's probably the fact that they're on a fucking boat.
I love how much sense that made.
Is it more like the Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron crossover?
I don't know.
That was a fever dream.
Here's the problem. I think I have alienated many of our viewers by talking at length about the That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana.
No, that's a very popular reference. It's everybody knows it.
To our viewers who do not watch Disney Channel, please Google it. Do yourself a favor.
Hi, I'm Claudia. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on social media at Kaludia Says, Kaludia Says. My gender this week, and I apologize in advance for this, is the Stuckyification of Boba and Din. Listen.
Maybe I don't like Boba and Din anymore.
You're in it. You're done.
Listen. I am a Sam and Bucky shipper. Mostly, I was a Steve Bucky shipper. I also, we love polycules on this podcast, so I ship many people. I have no preferences. However, something deep inside me, when Din Djarin was like, I'm with you until we both fall, something deep inside me was thrown so thoroughly back to 2014, right? When The Winter Soldier came out, I became a person that I swore I'd never be again. And I don't know how I'm gonna recover from this one. And I'd like to thank all of you guys, because I was initially not a Boba and Din shipper. I was a Din Luke, occasionally a Din Cobb, and I still am. I think Din can have many boyfriends. But now, this is my Joker. This is all I can think about. I forgot about what everything else that happened in the episode, because it was all I could think about. And now I need to go rewatch The Winter Soldier.
Speaking of Boba and Din, I'm Jess. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on TikTok and Twitter at Kawaii Jessyo. And my gender this week is the inherent homoeroticism of telling your friend that you're with them until you die.
There is something deeply homoerotic about two men fighting for one another. Men can have friendships, not those men. I do not allow that.
Like I said, when Din said this is the way, it's more like this is the gay. Thanks, Din Djarin.
My name is Noah. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on social media at The Jewish Jedi. And my gender this week is Cobb Vanth gets sent to the Polynesian spa.
So true.
Something happened in the episode that made me be like, yeah, Boba sends all his friends to the Polynesian spa.
Concept. Next season of Book of Boba Fett starts. The lights, it fades in from darkness. It shows Boba's palace. It is pretty much empty. Like there are people milling about, but no one important. It pans up to that little balcony that he has overlooking. You hear laughing. It's Fennec, Boba, and Cobb sipping mimosas, talking about being in charge of Tatooine, just hanging out. And that's the entire season. It's 7 episodes of the 3 of them just hanging out and like doing things in a newly refreshed Tatooine.
Real Housewives of Tatooine?
That's yes, but there's less fighting. They're just friends.
Okay, but did they get to do the fun intros at the beginning?
You know what? This is a sad thing is the amount of Real Housewives I've seen and the amount of just like random ones I can quote like is embarrassing.
Okay, quickly, what would their intros be?
Okay, so here's a great question. Cobb is like, being back from the dead didn't go to my head. And I think that Bubba got mad because he wanted to do that. And Fennec's also mad because she also wanted to do that because all of them almost died. And I think that maybe that's what the first half of the season is about, is them arguing over who gets to have that.
I love the idea of them fighting over the right to make I almost died jokes. I feel like the mimosa outfits too are like a crop top that says I had a near-death experience and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
No, they're all wearing the little robes that Boba is in. They all have to be in the little robes with little slippers.
Them doing like face masks with cucumbers over their eyes together. That's what I'm talking about.
Din Djarin is also there, but he has his helmet on with the robe.
With the mask and the cucumbers over his helmet.
Grogu is there with tiny cucumbers.
Grogu's eating the cucumbers.
Chrysanthemum too?
Yes, of course. Chrysanthemum and the mods, they went to go to like the arcade or something.
No.
He's babysitting.
No, they were all... Chrysanthemum got to get his nails done. That is what he did.
Here's my hot take is that I think Chrysanthemum has a really good mimosa recipe, and I think he's the bartender.
Oh, Chrysanthemum is making sangria. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Chrysanthemum's a sangria kind of guy. So we are going to talk about this week's episode of Book of Boba Fett. Next week, we are going to do a wrap up. So this is just going to be about this week's episode. So you guys know. So it kind of starts, Boba and Fennec are in Sanctuary, and they're like, dang, this place looks like shit. And then Din and the mods walk in and are like, hey, yeah, this place looks like ass. But don't worry, Cobb and his little besties are going to come and help us. And then the whole squad's like, oh, we need to go back to the palace so we can hole up and protect ourselves. And then Dresh is like, no, if we go back to the palace, then people are going to be pissed. They need us here. And then Boba's like, cool, we'll just hang out here.
So I had 2 questions during that scene. Number 1, it was very TV logic because it was like, no, we don't want to have our big fight out in the desert where no one's gonna get hurt. We want to have it here, near where people fucking live. But the second thing was also, like, people have brought up, like, hey, why is Boba's gang or whatever kind of small? Like, there's not a lot of people in it. But also the people of Freetown, like, if you've read the Aftermath books, you know that, like, Freetown and Cobb Vanth's people, like, they're all a lot of freed slaves, and there's actually quite a number of them, and they have, like, as we then see, like, a tank and stuff that they stole from the Empire and shit, but we've never actually seen that. We've seen, like, a little bit of it in that one episode of The Mandalorian, but, like, when he shows up in Freetown, it's, like, 3 buildings, so them keeping saying, like, yeah, he's gonna bring his people, it's an army, it's like, this is, like, a collection of 20 people. Like, it drove me insane. I was like, huh? Like, Bubba was like, yeah, Cobb and his 3 buildings worth of people. Like, it's just like, if you didn't have that context, like, and when they showed up with a tank, like, I would have been so confused. I mean, I already was confused, but it was a little weird.
to be fair, Mos Espa is probably the most densely populated part of Tatooine, and there were maybe like 10,000 people living there. Like that feels like it's pushing it.
The impacts of COVID were quite felt on this show. I will get into that later. But the impacts of COVID, they were like, we are social distancing even when we're kicking ass.
Din doesn't know about COVID because he always wears his helmet anyway, and he just thinks people are getting really into Mandalorian culture. He's like, yeah, I think we should cover our faces. That's great. And then someone's like, there's a pandemic, and he's like, whoa, oh no, Grogu, don't worry, I'll get you a mask.
He brings that fucking Beskar to fucking the armor, and he's like, can you make Grogu something? And she makes the fucking chainmail, and he's like, okay, a chainmail mask isn't gonna work. Like, I was asking for something that was like
the Lana Del Rey-ification of
Grogu. So what I was actually gonna say about that little bit at the beginning of the episode, I found kind of interesting because I won't lie, one, it was good to know that like we got some more lore about the mods. And honestly, we might have gotten this lore earlier. I just wasn't paying attention because I fucking blacked out in a rage during episode 3.
We did not. I can confirm for you, we did not.
Okay. Because, like, I just straight up thought these were, like, motherfucking, like, transplant people who are just, like, coming in because for shits and giggles, I guess. But it was good to, like, hear, like, oh, Drash is actually, like, from Mos Espa and, like, has, like, things to say about it and, like, ties. Which is to say that I don't think it was super helpful. And once again, this feels a little bit more like the general story, and so I'll keep this short and sweet. Like, I wish we had gotten an episode where we just found out more about the mods. Like, Boba is obviously there. He is also, you know, the main character. But, like, just so we, like, felt something about them, it wasn't until this episode that I really felt any emotion at all about them. And even then, I was just like, they're kind of funny. I like that they were getting their asses beat, and Fennec just pops in and is like, I'm killing these bitches. And the Drash is like, oh my god, I might be gay.
Drash literally is like, as soon as that battle was over, she's going online Googling, am I gay quiz.
Drash has a type, and it's sniper women, because she was like, something LGBT happened to me with Fennec, and then she whipped around and started flirting with the Freetown sniper girl, and I was like,
whose name is Jo.
Her name is Jo, and that was actually another piece of like world building that I was like, damn, wish we'd gotten that earlier, when she's like, yeah, whatever, city girl, whatever, and like they're like, oh, we're like the country people, and they're like the city people, because that would have explained like the mod people a lot better, because a place like Mos Espa is a city area, and like most of the time when we've seen Tatooine, it's kind of rural, like Luke's a farm boy kind of deal, and it would have been really cool to see like the differences between one and the other, and I love those little homosexuals. Hope they're doing well.
Yeah, I did also, this is later, but I did like that part where that one guy did a spin. Everyone's hating on that. I thought it was camp.
I just want to say about the spin, because people had shit to say on Twitter. Din Djarin literally did the same, and I think Boba, same spin earlier. Question for yourself why you had an issue with that, from my special mod guy.
Also followed by, this is once again way farther in the episode, that little, like, I'm not a big anime person, but like the magical girl pose that Boba did with his knee to get the little knee cannon shot off was very funny to me.
I was screaming, crying. That was the part where I was like, you know what? I fucking love this. I'm having a great time. And those are the best moments of this show, of Star Wars or whatever, when it leans in, when it's like, yeah, we're Star Wars and we're camp. It's like, finally, we acknowledge it.
I was just going to say, yeah, with the beginning of the episode and seeing the ruins of the sanctuary, I felt very sad because that basically confirmed that like all of our sexy Twi'leks were killed. So Garza Whip, is that her last name? I'm so sorry.
Like, it's so sad. I miss her so much. What was her name again?
I remember her first name, okay? I couldn't remember her last name.
No, I'm sorry.
Jess is at Garza Whip's memorial service, and they're like, we have gathered here to talk about Garth. It got smeared on my hand, you guys. I'm so sorry.
That's really sad, like, considering that, like, the only Twi'leks we're seeing that, like, seem like they're actual, like, free Twi'leks and not some like messed up little slave things going on with the Twi'leks. They all got killed in one like short little scene. I think at least Max Rebo is okay, but I'm just like, why was he not there that night. Max Rebo, I'm on to you. You fucking snitch.
Because he's working for the Pike Syndicate because he knew. I've cracked the code.
You bitch, Max Rebo, I hate you.
He is canonically a snitch.
He is canonically a snitch. This is my my fan theory. My post-credit scene that didn't happen, but I'll say happened because I like lying about things that happen in this show.
It's called revisionist history, and I
revisionist.
choose to believe in it when it comes to
POV
Star Wars.
Mel gaslights us.
Yeah. So, anyways, do you all remember the post-credit scene of this television show where it cuts to Max Rebo walking into a little alley, and he opens up a little like hollow projector, and in his hands is Kira, and he's like, "I have done your work, my lord." And then it ends because everyone thought Kira was going to be in this show.
Oh my god.
You know, I'm kind of sad. I thought you were going to say Axe Woves.
Now, why
I
he
would
there?
ask Woves want to
Mel?
like destroy Tatooine.
Mal, it's very clear you have had to watch Solo too many times, and I'm so sorry.
I would like to inform the populace that prior to watching this episode, I did have a long-form dream in which the entire content was that Axe Woves appeared in the episode, and Mel was like, "There he is. There's my white boy." And that was the entire dream. Nothing else happened. There were no other plot deals. It was just that Axe Woves had walked into frame, and Mel was like, "Oh my god, there he is."
I think the important thing to me about Axe Woves re-entering canon is that it makes the least amount of sense humanly possible. I want him to be in like the fucking Acolyte show. I want him to be somewhere he should not be.
Oh my god, Axe Woves in Phase 3 of the High Republic when?
He is the leveler.
I am also okay. No, here's my concept. People also wanted Valance in this show, and I don't really know much about this character, but he is a cyborg, right?
Yes, he
Okay,
is.
hear me out on this. So Valance walks into town, and then his body opens up to reveal Axe Woves.
No!
Axe Woves was piloting Valance, not Glee Bane.
Not like a
Evangelion?
No, not okay. No. It's like that scene in Scooby-Doo.
Exactly.
That's why he got de-yassified in Vader 20!
For the people listening at home, Valance is a character who has had many associations with Boba Fett in the comics that many people thought, and with Han Solo, that many people thought would show up in the Book of Boba Fett. Recently, in a recent episode of Darth Vader 2020, he was not as attractive as he was.
A recent issue, like the comic.
Recent issue, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
He
Just for
was
clarity's
not as
sake.
attractive as he was in previous comics, so he was de-yassified. Continue.
Okay, so I have just like made a very deep, like I feel like I'm in therapy when you're like you have like a realization. I think why I like Axe Woves so much is because he's like my Scrappy-Doo. Like he's like just like this fucked up little dude.
He's Fen Rao is Scooby and Axe is Scrappy.
He's the Waluigi. Like, he has no lore. Nobody knows what he is.
He
or
just
why
appeared
he's
one
there.
day.
He's just
You
a
don't know,
guy.
no, because
He's just there
Waluigi
to play-
does have lore. I won't take this slander.
No,
His lore is that he likes tennis. Fuck you.
No,
Yeah,
he's just there to play tennis. That's it.
And why does he need a bigger backstory? It's honestly people like you who are ruining this fandom. We then get a scene where the Pikes and the mayor are just like chilling, and Cad Bane's like, "Hey," and they're like, "Yeah, we're messed up and evil." And this is important because first of all, they're like, "Yeah, we had the Tuskens killed because obviously we called it." But the other thing from the first episode was when the biker gang puts that K in Huttese on the wall. That is because the Nikto biker gang were called the Kinton Striders, hence the K. And I was so prepared. I was like, "Oh, we've got all these theories." It was just some glub shittos.
Don't pretend like the other theories we had were not also glove shittos.
Okay, yeah, but at least they were glub shittos that weren't invented in this show.
That's fair.
They were established.
Then we see an X-Wing flying over Tatooine, rolls up to Peli's garage, and Peli's like, "Halar, officer, so sorry."
She's like, I do have my papers, officer. Tee.
And then Grogu gets out. Peli's like, "Grogu, that's a dumbass name. So sorry,
Oh,
kid.
yeah.
Let's go get you a snack."
love that, like, freaking R2 probably is like, where's the Mandalorian? Because I just need to drop off this kid. I want to go back to Luke. I don't have time to be hanging out here on this fucking sand planet again.
So I do like that this series has really been a love letter to the prequels. I love the reverse Caminoification of Grogu, wherein a Jedi is taken to a planet and he is the DoorDash order that was mistakenly brought to a planet. Anyways, I felt kind of bummed out that Fennec basically, like, is there for only, like, 20% of the episode. She's there to be like, hey, guys, I love the energy that we brought into this fucked up little room that we're in, but we need to have a plan. So I'm gonna go kill some bitches. Feel free to do as you like. See you at the end of the episode. And then just he leaves.
A lot of people have talked about Jon Favreau can't write women. Which is true. And the wasted potential for her, just in general, it really was, I said this a couple episodes, the Leiaification of Fennec. But not just in, like, a women being written badly and their potential being bad. Like, she's there to deliver plot, and that's all she's there for. It's a quality, I guess, that women can also deliver plot. But it was very much like, even her last thing that she does in the show is like, she ties up the loose ends. It was like, oh, was there a reason for that? Did like, she has beef with Cad Bane, but was there a reason she, like, there was nothing. It was just like, yep, and we killed the rest of them, and that's what she did. And it was like, oh, okay.
I think that is, like, it is a really weird role that they've sort of given her. Because what's weird is she's kind of seeming to be, like, the planner. Like, in that scene, she's like, okay, guys, here's our plan. Here's where all of our guys are. And as she's narrating, you're seeing where everyone is. And they're like, okay, cool. Then freaking Matt Berry, torture droid, walks in and is like, hello, somebody's here. And then Cad Bane shows up, delivers exposition, and Boba's like, go get those motherfuckers. Quick, go get the pikes. And she's like, wig, okay. Well, Cad Bane doesn't do it. The Cad Bane shows up and is like, hee, the pikes are bad, and I work for them. And then Fennec is like, that sucks. And the Major Domo is like, hey, you should go kill them. Here's where they are. And then Fennec's just gone for, like, the whole episode. It's just so weird. I'm like, it seemed like she was, like, the general. Like, she was the one who was in charge. And then she's like, hee, goodbye.
The Leiaification, literally.
No, literally.
The two things that we know about Fennec are, one, we learned in this series, the new piece of information we learned about her is that she is from the Mid-Rim. The second piece of information that we know for Shurzy about her, for her vis-a-vis her lore, Fennec beat Cad Bane's ass. And she'd do it again. It was kind of surprising not surprising to me. I kind of liked that Boba killed Cad Bane with the gaffy stick, but I also was like, because of, and I don't want to get super into this because I think it's a discussion for later in the episode, but, like, the juxtaposition of Cad being the example of rugged individualism and being like, you don't need anyone, Boba. Look at me. I'm so cool and awesome and pew pew. Fuck your life, bing bong. And Boba is like, actually, I have my community here as my weapon. And I thought it would have been really cool for Cad to be, like, giving this very cool monologue, and then Fennec just comes up behind him and shoots him in the head. Just like, shut the fuck up. Anyways, get up, Boba.
Just like when she shot Tonway in the head.
Exactly.
I was so ready, though, for, like, that to happen with, like, Boba on the ground and Cad Bane, like, being like, yeah, here's my final lesson for you, kid. And then Fennec to show up and be like, fuck you. Proving once again that I can beat your ass anytime, Cad Bane. But no, that didn't happen.
I feel like it was kind of emblematic because there's a lot of things like that where it'd be like, oh, narratively, actually, this would make more sense. Like, I could list like 50 of them. Like, this is a good first draft. Could use some script doctoring. With Fennec, especially, it was like, we were talking about Din and Boba before of how just homoerotic and gay they were. This was another case of so misogynistic, it whipped around to the homoerotic because her job, her role with Boba was, I am with you because I owe you a debt. And I'm your, like, right-hand person because I owe you a debt for a while. And then they were like, so anyway, she's going out of the picture and now Din is going to fill that role. And so that they can look badass together, and she's going to disappear. And and she's not going to be around, and now, and it was like, great, I love Din Djarin very much. He does have his own TV show.
I mean, she did choose, like, just to go back, she did clear her debt, and then she did choose to stay with Boba. So that was not like
No, I know, like, literally, yes, but I'm saying, like, literally, yes, but I'm saying, like, that is kind of, like, her role thematically with him, you know what I mean? That she's like, I'm with you, not till the end of the line. I'm so sorry, I can't say that, but, like, that's kind of her thing, like, I'm your right-hand man, whatever, because we had a debt to each other, and now we've created a community, which then is what he establishes with Din, which is great, and I love that he's doing that with multiple people, but it was at the expense of seeing her anymore, or developing their relationship at all.
Something, too, that I think, like, about that I thought was really interesting is, to me, I think this is on me, because I did not know where Fennec was going the first time I watched this episode. I know when I reread the plot summary while I was planning this episode, I was like, oh, okay, actually, no, she did say where she was going, and I'm just an idiot. I thought she had just left. Okay, this is another fridging that I need to talk about. Can we talk about the Gamorreans getting pushed off a cliff and no one saying anything about it?
Yeah.
That was so sad.
Everybody who was yassified in this show got killed.
Listen, they died as they lived.
No.
They died as they lived. Ass out.
I was so distraught by that, though. Like, literally, when I saw them being backed up to, like, the cliffside, I was just like, no, not Yass and Slay.
That's their names.
Those are their names now, I've decided. But and then the fact, they just were like, yep, they're probably dead, and didn't even acknowledge it anymore, even though they were like, oh, look, the mods are okay, and Chrysanthemum's okay, but no one's gonna be like, oh no, what happened to our funky little Gamorreans?
But then we have Din and Boba have their little conversation about Din being like, I'm prepared to die for you because I owe you. And Boba being like, so true. I can't believe you still believe in that. And he's like, well, I do. And this is the way. And Boba was like, I'm so happy that you still believe that. And they were really preparing themselves to die. And then the Major Domo was like, actually, I went to college, so maybe I can go out and talk to them. Hee hee.
Okay, so here's my thing. I talked about this, I believe, 2 episodes ago now, possibly all of them, because I'm just obsessed with Mandalorians. It happens. But one of the things that I liked about this show, despite Din being in it for largely no reason but marketing and then this, is that it finally allows him to be, like, very involved in his spirituality in a way that's positive. So for him to be like, yeah, like, yes, I love the homoerotic interpretation where he's like, I'm here because I care about you on a very deep level. I am also very here for the interpretation of, like, that's just what his way of life demands of him. And I liked to see that respected and not like for Boba to be like, okay, well, I don't. And for Din to be like, I do. And then for them both to be like, we're both still Mandalorians. We're both still going to fight for one another, but we have very different ideas of how this works and what it looks like. I like that a lot. It was also very gay, but it was not just gay.
I think that part actually, people were saying like that made it more gay, that it was like, he's like, no, he doesn't believe the same thing, but he respects him in that, and that's wonderful. And people were like, well, why can't they be friends? And I'm like, well, shut up. I think the mutual understanding between one man who is having from a culture that is deeply important to him, that he is now wrestling with, and one man who is figuring out what it means to have a culture at all because he has just been a person on his own the whole time, I think is very important. And if they can both be gay and also acknowledge that in this essay, well, anyway.
I want to say that, yeah, if you want to think that they're just friends, that's fine too. Like, headcanons, people. Just don't come and attack other people for not having the same headcanon as you and being like, go fuck yourself. That's not true. Like, that's not fun, funky, fresh. Don't be like that. Also, I wanted to talk about the Major Domo, like, being like, oh yeah, I went to college, so I can talk for you guys. And then Boba's like, okay, here, give me your tablet. I'll write down my terms and conditions. And he writes that so fast. And I think it was so eloquently said. Good job, Boba.
I know. I'm like, maybe Boba should have become a fucking poet. Like, that was so. He was like, yeah, I'm
He's
hard
like,
as shit. Bye.
That's what
Like,
he
yeah,
meant when he was like, "Oh, I was not meant. This life isn't meant for me." He was like, "I was meant to be a poet." He's gonna go leave. He's going to the lakes with Fennec, where all the poets went to die.
Not the Walden Pontification of Boba Fett.
Yes, exactly.
The Book of Boba Fett, it's like the Iliad. It's a chapter. Welcome
I can't do that.
to the Iliadification of the Book of Boba Fett. When will Boba Fett
God.
fight a river?
Listen,
I love
listen,
Milk and Honey
we-
by Boba Fett.
the rupee cowerification of Boba Fett. Okay, also listen, if you want it to be Iliad, we have our Achilles and Patroclus. The
literally
roles are
gonna say that.
cast. I want to know who plays Menelaus.
Chrysanthemum.
No!
Get out! Do not
Not
disrespect
Santo.
me.
Oh wait.
No,
Who-
that is
okay.
the mayor.
Can I just say, can either Yass or Slay be Helen of Troy? Are we allowed?
The face that launched 1,000 ships is fucking Yass for Slay.
Yes, exactly,
I mean,
exactly. Oh, what? Can Peli Motto be Helen of Troy?
I think Peli Motto is the fucking.
No, I think it's Cobb Vanth stuck in the
No, okay, actually, you're so true.
Cobb Vanth, okay, Cobb Vanth is actually Helen. I would read an apologia of fucking. Cobb
I
Vanth.
agree so completely. Cobb
Din
Vanth's Helen of
Djarin?
Troy is so powerful to me on so many levels.
Din Djarin's just some guy. He's not a named character.
He's nobody. He's
No, he's fucking not Odysseus. Okay, I can't stand for that because as an Odysseus hater, I cannot stand for that.
This is an Odysseus
fucking
anti-account.
hate Odysseus.
What? Okay,
Like, I
no.
cannot.
he is a-
no,
no, he is a piece of shit.
No,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I
He's a piece of
cannot
shit.
cannot get into this right now because like that just triggered something so deep within me. I hate Odysseus.
No, I do completely agree with you, and that is slander towards Din Djarin.
Who were you
I
gonna
am sorry.
say is Din?
I was thinking I can't remember the difference between these two. Well, he could be Diomedes.
I can see that actually.
Period. I just love the scene with the major domo standing out there and he's like, okay, so here's our demands.
No, because Major Domo is literally RuPaul walking onto the main stage of actual RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, like, Queens, welcome to tonight's entertainment. For today's Maxi Challenge, Boba and Fennec had to sell their property and leave. And then they're like, cool, you fucking blew it. Okay, no, because what is this episode if not a long, drawn-out lip sync for your life?
Okay, I do like the idea of them lip syncing to the end credit music, which was just the guy saying Boba Fett in the theme song.
I like that. I also would advocate Into You by Ariana Grande.
Okay, okay. I'm so sad Yass and Slay died because they would body that.
They totally would. And here's the thing. You even have built-in reveals with the mods. They can like pull off their clothes and be like, it's actually made of machine.
Oh my god, wait, no. They're
Rancor.
singing side to side because that's their side and side. Those
Okay,
are-
no, because they're on their little speeder bikes and they're doing side to side, and one of them has a wig reveal. And then Major Domo is like, it's over. Like the Pikes are like, we have to leave because that wig was so powerful that
like-
we can't stay
They're
here
like,
anymore.
how long have you been on Tatooine? And Boba's like, we've been here all night. We've been here all day.
Okay, concept. This is way further ahead in the episode. However, when Boba and Cad Bane are standing opposite to one another, like, this is a lip sync. And
Guys-
Cad Bane loses because he tries to pull a wig reveal with having his hat fall off and then he gets shot to death.
Guys,
Literal death drop.
I think we might be gay.
I would like to posit that I think that the song that they would do it to is I Need a Hero, specifically
The fairy godmother version. from
yeah,
Shrek
the
2.
fairy godmother version.
The only
course.
important cover
Yeah,
is that.
I think it would be, and it would be the full on production because the Shrek version has like what's going on outside the castle as well, like with the gingerbread man and everything, and that's exactly what was happening here. That was the vibe. So
It has just occurred to me, I believe, okay, sorry, I have to think of my Shrek 2 lore. I think his name is Mongo? Is that it? That's the...
Yeah, the big
Yeah,
gingerbread
that's his
man.
name.
Yes,
That's Santo.
the Rancor.
Oh, I was thinking to say that's Santo.
Because Santo.
No,
wait,
okay, no, because Santo falls down on the stairs and all the fucking...
like a Renaissance
All the
painting.
fucking
or not a
Trandoshans
Renaissance.
all the
cover
Trandoshans
him.
covered him.
yeah, that
and
was
it's
like the stabbing of Caesar.
Okay, I did
God.
forget that my gender this week was almost lizard pile, and then I had changed it at the last.
I'm happy you
anyways,
did.
anyways, you know how Mongo in Shrek 2 falls into the milk water? I can't remember
So
what
it's
it is.
water.
He
It's
falls
on a
into
boat. It is a
water.
water.
For some reason, I thought it was. I
He
can't
gets hot-
explain why.
no,
No,
you're close. You're close. You're close. You get hot milk poured on you.
No, because I can't explain why I thought it was milk. There's no excuse. There's no
Guys.
excuse.
What were you
No,
gonna
it's because
say?
they were like shooting like hot like
They do
milk
pour
at
milk
him.
on him.
Okay, thank you.
He has a
Anyways,
milk bath.
anyways, we can't keep getting into the lore of Shrek.
This is a Shrek 2 podcast.
No, I think we should.
Let's do a solo watch of Shrek 2. What I was gonna say, going back to the RuPaul's Drag Race-ification of Book of Boba Fett, Cobb's little Weequay life partner, who we got a canonical name for, I believe it's Tanti. His little wig that they have that gentleman in.
That wig is secured by nuts and bolts. It is screwed into his head.
Have you guys seen Weequay hair? That's just what they look. That is
I know.
Hondo's hair does look like, you know, on Barbie dolls when they don't actually have like hair, so the scalp is like painted on, but then there's a hole in their
Yes.
head that has hair coming out of it. That is like
Yeah.
Weequay hair.
Okay, but wait, does Hondo have hair?
Yes, Hondo has a pony. Has like hair. He has like
Okay, I actually do not remember that
Wait,
at all. I
Maybe
feel
no,
crazy.
I know he does have hair. I was simply thinking about in Rebels when he takes off his hat and he has the little cap on, and I was like, he does not have hair. But
he may have shaved.
I had been talking about Tanti. I keep on wanting to say Tati, and I'm like, that is not his name.
Tatiana
my
Maslany.
He's
performing the same parts.
He's breaking his silence.
He did break his silence to say Cobb Vanth got gunned down in the street by Cad Bane, and like, that's no good.
Can we talk about how gay that moment is? Because Din's fully stopping in the middle of a shootout to be like, I'm really sorry that he's dead. And I'm like, it's okay. You can say you were in love. I'm fine with that.
He did sound like he was crying when he was he was like, I'm
Pedro
sorry for your
Pascal sounded like
loss.
he was crying multiple times this
He was-
episode.
Bitch is emotional.
He was going through it. If we're gonna move away from the beginning of the fight, at the beginning of the fight when we have Boba and Din doing their full fan service situation, I just want to say, fight choreography is very, it's choreographed. It's very planned, whatever. They have never really fought. They've fought, but they've never really fought together that much before. And they were fighting perfectly in sync. And not only that, but they were like touching each other. Like they would be like, oh, here, let me just perch here, shoot the guy here, like whatever, or like let me stand in front of here to like there was just a lot of, I was like, these two guys are not known for letting anybody touch them in any way, to the point where one of them doesn't let anybody see his face. Yet they are fighting for their lives, and it's getting very touchy-feely. What's going on here? And this was choreographed. I don't know. I'm just saying. I just have a lot of thoughts. And they literally have a moment where Din is like gets shot down and Boba's like, oh no, my husband.
You good stuff, boy.
So yeah, the next scene, speaking of men crying, Peli shows up and she's like, okay, Peli, I love you so much. She saw that there was a battle going on. She must have heard the sound, rolls up and is like, hey, I brought a baby here. And Din's like, what are you doing? And then he sees Grogu and then he's like, oh my God, hi.
She had her AirPods in.
Okay, I do have the question of she was in like an Uber. She was in a taxi. Like so you're telling me, I don't know if she flew there or whatever from Mos Eisley to Mos Espa, and then she got in an Uber. She was able to get, it's very, I don't know, the New Yorkification. She was able to get an Uber while this battle is happening. It was like Avengers Battle of New York, but like you can still get an Uber to be like, hey, Captain America, how you doing?
You bringing up like her not hearing all these like gunshots and like grenades being launched or whatever the heck. Like, yeah, the entire time when like she shows up and she's like, hey, Mando. And me and my friends are like, does she not hear what's happening? Peli, get out of here. And then him being like, turn around, Peli, get out of here. And she's like, I can't hear you. Sorry, what was that? Like, Peli, are you not concerned by by all the stuff happening. Peli,
No,
please.
literally. And it's like, there's literally a Scorpionic droid right there. And she's like, I can't hear you because of all the fighting. Like, girl.
Okay,
She
you know what?
is
You know what
awful
she had
shits.
on in her AirPods? She had "Vroom Vroom" by Charlie XCX. She was listening to that avant-garde music on the way to the scene.
You can't keep doing this, Noah.
She was
I'm
listening
sorry.
to My Favorite Murder.
True crime podcast enjoyer Peli Motto is so much to me.
She was like, listen, like, I know how to defend myself. I listen to true crime podcasts. And Din's like, bro, this is an active war zone and you brought my baby. She's like, yeah, I listen to My Favorite Murder.
Okay, I have a question.
She's like, don't worry, I'm sexy, so I'm not gonna get killed. Just like
and
they
she
say
was
on
right for
My
that.
Favorite Murder.
And she was right for that. I do have a question. Because Gogurt kind of like sucks up to Din, like quite literally like flies through the air. Did he force pull himself to Din? Do we know what
must
happened there? Is it just
have.
weird editing?
He did his little force jump. He's like,
Okay,
look,
wait.
Dad, I can do parkour now.
Din's like, oh shit, he on X Games.
Din's like, oh my god, he's a quirked up green boy with a little bit of swag.
I would argue that he's definitely goated with the sauce.
For sure, yeah.
So then the next part that kind of pops off is we see the squad from Freetown fighting. They have like taken this like choke point, and they're kind of holding back the droids while everybody's having a moment. And Drash and Joe is the one of the girls from Freetown. Drash is like, I got to get up there and start sniping bitches, or we are going to get our shit rocked. We can't go back any further because there's nowhere else to retreat to. Joe is like, okay, well, you're going to shoot them with your tiny little gun. And Drash is like, I don't really have a bigger gun. So, and Joe's like, girl, don't worry about it. I got you, baby. And then they go and just start taking people out. And it's so powerful. And I'm like, why couldn't we have gotten this earlier?
Yeah, that's also when we get the lore that, like, you know, yeah, Drash. Well, we kind of already knew that when they were like, oh yeah, you know, we're staying here in Mos Espa because, you know, the people need us. This is where we're from, and we're gonna stay here and protect them, which was kind of a bad choice. Or gonna just cause damage. But her being like, I literally only grew up like a few blocks away from here. If we keep going, we're gonna get cornered and like trapped and fucked up. So we have to stand our ground right here, right now. Let's go. Me and my tiny gun got this.
I do have to say about the earlier Din and Grogu reunion for a hot second. That was a part of the Spy Kidsification of Star Wars, because that is exactly what always happens in a Robert Rodriguez Spy Kids or Shark Boy or Lava Girl production. The children, they get separated from the parents because it is a children's movie. The parents then finally come back into the picture. They have a reunion while they are battling it out amongst CGI, and it's very adorable. And I was like, God, I love Spy Kids too.
And Danny Trejo was there. Well, not in this
No,
episode.
he wasn't. I know that's ahead in the episode, but like, where was he? I was very concerned about him. And where was he? I know it was because of COVID-19 or whatever, but where was he?
He had his AirPods in.
Yeah, he was in the basement of Boba's palace, just like playing Candy Crush on his phone.
He was vaping.
He was
vaping.
But speaking of Danny Trejo, that's when Boba shows up with the Rancor. And he's like, hey, girly, let's take out some of these droids. And meanwhile, Din has just been whacking at it with the Darksaber. It has not been working. He's like, wait, won't it work? And then Boba's like, okay, I'm here to get shit done. Then Din gets in there with the Darksaber and starts actually doing damage. And I'm like, I can respect that. He said, maybe if I keep trying. But here's the thing, too, that I kept thinking about. Does fucking Lux Von Terry know more about stopping droids than Din and Boba Fett combined? Unfortunately, it seems like that's the case. I hate to bring him up, but I think that he learned from Rex, because Rex is a boy boss. They need some droid poppers. I'm just saying.
Poppers?
That's what they're called. They're called droid poppers.
Why are we doing poppers at the gig? Why is Rex huffing poppers at the function?
Why is Rex teaching Saw Gerrera and Lux Von Terry how to do poppers?
First of all, Star Wars, it's stupid. Most of it doesn't make sense. Let's not approach any of it with logic. However, a part of my brain did go, okay, Boba Fett was a teenager. He was literally a child when the Clone Wars started, and he was a teenager during it. And he definitely remembers how to defeat droids. And Din is a little bit younger, but he might remember some things. And they're both pretty accomplished fighters. I think they would know, if I shoot at a ray shield, it's not gonna make fucking work. But they kept doing it and being like, why doesn't it work? And it was like, bestie, you just sound stupid, and what are you doing? And it was very odd. And then of course the whole time I was like, you need to tuck and roll Ahsoka. She learns that you need to roll, you need to bowl the thing. And I will say this. I didn't want anybody crazy to show up. I want this to be Boba's time. Whatever. However, I was like, there is a Clone Wars veteran on Tatooine right now. R2-D2, he's right there. He is right there.
And Nick is right there.
Yeah, she's older than all of them.
I'm sure Fennec has fought droids.
She was just like, but that's none of my business. Like, she's there, but like people who actually fought in the Clone Wars, right? She's there.
Unfortunately, I think R2 just like left Grogu at like with Peli at Mos Eisley and said peace out.
I know that literally. I'm just saying like narratively what would make sense. I also think like I didn't want a Jedi to show up. They eventually did that anyway because they were like Grogu saves them, and I'm like okay. But I was like, instead of Ahsoka showing up randomly in the last episode where we see no Boba, it would have been cool if Ahsoka showed up to be like, Clone Wars veteran. That would have been cool because she,
I think it was cool that they got the Rancor. I think that was, and I think the other thing too that I also really liked about that sequence is that when the Rancor beats the shit out of the Ray Shield, Din gets in there, starts making money moves, and then it puts its foot down on Din's leg, and Din's like, oh no, I'm hurted. And Grogu said, actually, no. Okay, also, Din being like, Peli, Major Domo, watch my baby, and them having one job, and then not watching Grogu when he walks out in front of a droid.
I'll say this. So the one part about that I liked, because I don't know how I feel about, like, bringing the Jedi part, whatever, is that it is nice that, like, just like in the Clone Wars, like, the thing that defeats the droids is the teamwork between a boy boss clone, Boba, and a Jedi, Grogu. And I thought that was very Yass and Slay. It also just goes to show Din is not going to be the holder of the Darksaber. That man cannot use that thing. And it was very powerful of him. It was very powerful.
Training.
He just swings it around, and it's very powerful of him. And
Claudia, I'd like you to tell me what you would do with a lightsaber in that situation, quickly.
I never said I was
Claudia's not
expert.
trying to be the Mandalore.
I'm not trying to be the Mandalore. I didn't say I was an expert.
To be fair, neither is Din.
Yeah.
I mean, that is fair, but I'm like,
whenever I argue that Boba should fucking be the Mandalore and whatever, everyone's like, no, Din, whatever. And I'm like, Din canonically keeps getting his shit rocked. Like, all he had to do was slice all the way through it, and he was like, what do I do? I don't know.
He was. I'm feeling like once he got a foothold and he did okay.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing him, whatever. I thought it was neat.
Do we want to talk about Cad Bane and Boba's little moment? Jess, do you have something you want to say?
One, like, to me, someone who knows like the lore between like Cad Bane and Boba, that was like very fun. Which I guess my older sister, she enjoyed it, and she had no idea who Cad Bane is. She's just like, oh, it's the funky blue man. And she also kept calling him Jinzo, who is a Yu-Gi-Oh monster, by the way. And I was just like, can you stop calling him fucking Jinzo? She seemed to kind of understand that there was some beef between them, which I guess was okay. But I wish they could have like dove more into that with them. Like, it would have, I feel like, hit harder if Cad Bane had been introduced sooner into Book of Boba Fett and been like, hey, Boba, fuck you, bing bong. But I liked seeing the development of Boba being like, fuck you, I'm not a little boy anymore, Cad Banes, and I'm gonna kick your ass. And no, you don't have to be alone to be able to like be powerful and stuff. And being with people doesn't make you weak. I love the found family, the power of friendship, Boba Fett. Just like, I have the power of my friends and my family and this town, and I'm gonna protect them, and they make me stronger. Fuck you. Go die, Cad Bane.
Yeah, no, literally, that was like, I was talking about this earlier in the episode, like, Cad Bane represents Boba's old life of, like, rugged individualism, this need to be, like, I don't need other people, I have myself and my credits, and, like, that's all that matters. And then Boba, like, coming to terms with, like, money is a dispensable thing if it means I'm taking care of my people. I don't give a fuck about that. Like, we saw that in an earlier episode. And then in this one, he's like, no, fuck you. And then uses, like, this ancestral weapon, which is not ancestral for him, but because he was adopted into the culture, this weapon to kill Cad Bane, I think once again was very like touching. I think for me, what kind of confuses me about it is that like that's not the Boba Cad Bane beef isn't canon. Like it just was kind of like a thing that almost happened in Clone Wars, but then didn't. But it was just like, I don't know, because we had a character who had already established ties to hating or like having beef with Cad Bane, who was also a friend of Boba. It's like friend of Dorothy, friend of Boba. Like, I don't know, it felt good, but also I was like, oh, this could have also been done in a different way. But I mean, I guess shout out to the fans of the fucking Clone Wars, not animatics, but like those little scenes,
like the unfinished arcs.
Yeah.
From our perspective of somebody who knows all the canon, but then speaking to people who don't know any of the canon, like both of us like felt the same way. Like, I like Cad Bane. He's a funky little guy. I love all the history, whatever. And I felt nothing when that motherfucker died. I was like, okay. First of all, he hasn't been around for a while. We have no establishment of what he's been doing, why he's here, whatever. Not to say that I don't like him and that I am like, oh, I'm sad that I'm not going to see him anymore. I think he would have been interesting in ongoing stories. Wish he'd not been exclusive to Dave Filoni, so he could have been in some of the War of the Bounty Hunters, like all kinds of stuff like that. And I agree with Jess that I think that if he had been introduced earlier in the show, not only to establish the beef with Boba and like maybe to flash back to some of, you know, we saw where Boba went to. We actually never really saw where he came from. And what Cad Bane was talking about or anything. I'd love to have seen any of that. And yeah, Dave Filoni, I get it. You wanted that to happen. You made it happen 3 times now with Hunter, with Fennec, and now with actual Boba Fett.
I forgot about
Also, don't forget about Cobb
I
Vanth.
forgot when Hunter got his ass beat.
Yeah,
Don't forget Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
Cobb Vanth, like Dave Filoni, I get it. You never got to make it, and now you've gotten to do it 4 times. It didn't air the original time, and it was supposed to be a part of a whole arc of like Boba as a teenager and like him working with somebody, you know, and who is he as a bounty hunter and how he gets the iconic dent in his armor or whatever. Like that was supposed to be the purpose of that, but then that never happened. So now it just feels like empty and like literally introducing him. Like my friend was like, "Who is this blue man?" And I was like, literally, if I didn't know, people know me. I am the biggest advocate for this story is a patchwork. You should consume all of it. However, even if you did, narratively, it would make more sense if he had been the face of the Pike Syndicate the whole time. Just because the Pikes were also a shit-ass villain, but we'll get into that later. I felt very mixed about it, because that, like Mel said, I think that was the most narratively cohesive thing for Boba that one moment, even though it should have been other people helping because he has a community. It was weird for him to be alone, and then for them to, like, have the community help with other parts. With the gaffy stick and all of that, that was great. And I was like, finally, some good fucking food. But then with Cad Bane, I was like, okay.
One thing I did kind of like about this, and this was something that my older sister and I were talking about actually, was that one, she was saying how she actually liked, Boba's character a lot in the show, with like showing him mature and like that growing up. He's able to like become someone like better than just like, oh, I'm a ruthless bounty hunter that only cares about credits. And so to see like that development in Boba versus Cad Bane, who is literally Scrooge Grinch, just like, I am mean and horrible. It's very relatable that, getting older, you realize more important things to you.
I will just say this, because Claudia, you were like, I didn't have an emotional reaction to Cad Bane getting killed. I would like everyone to know that at the time that I watched that, I was unaware that a certain Cobb Vanth had made it through the show. So I was cheering at my screen. I was like, get fucked, you blue bitch. You killed the man I love.
Yeah, I don't
give a shit about you.
I will also say that when that happened, I was like, because I don't know, maybe I had the same reaction when Cad Bane showed up, because in my head, I was like, Cad Bane, whatever. But then I was like, oh my god, wait, Cad Bane from the Clone Wars is here. And when Cad Bane died, I was like, no! Like, I had an emotion.
I was like thrilled.
No, because here's the thing. I was not like sad Cad Bane died. I'm happy he's gone. But it's almost one of those things where I was just like, oh my God, this character who I've known for a bajillion years is dead. It was just crazy because like me as being like, when they were like, oh, the Clone Wars is ending after season 6, I was like, oh, I'm never going to see Cad Bane again. And then he showed up so much. I'm like, I was so scared of that guy as a kid. And now he died. I'm in my 20s now. And I'm still feeling that same like reaction. Like, I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy. Anyway.
People that are like, I'm mad because he could have been in so many other things. I'm actually very into the idea of retiring characters sometimes. We actually don't need to go through them for 82 straight years. I'm like, listen, I'm really excited about the Kenobi show, but when it's over, if I never see that motherfucker again, it'll be okay with me.
Literally.
Like,
please let Obi-Wan rest.
No, literally, but I'm like, okay, it was fun to introduce him and all. However, it's okay that he got stabbed in the chest. He deserved it. And I, for one, will not be shedding any tears for him. I do like the idea of doing the finale, the funeral scene from Scream Queens, where they're like, we are gathered here today because a dumb idiot slut got exactly what was coming to her.
My one final thought before I give you Clone Watch is, even though this has nothing to really do with Boba, since it is in the last scene of this show, I really liked Din and Grogu's little moment at the end of the episode where Din is like driving his little ship and then Grogu's just tapping, and then me and my friends were like, oh, does he want to be in the same little like seat with like Din? He wants to be with his dad, and Din's just like, no, you can't sit with me, we can't do that, that's against the law. But no, freaking Grogu aggressively tapping was really funny, and then it's just because he wants to do card tricks with his dad.
I will also say about that, you saying tapping on the glass did make me think of Grogu and Dear Evan Hansen and you. That's sick and twisted. That's sick and
I hate that all.
Dear Grogu Jared.
That.
No! Grogu being the Dear Evan Hansen of the Jedi School.
It's Ben Solo Connor.
Do this anyway. Clone Watch. Hi, welcome to Clone Watch. There was no other clones in this episode, but at least we had Boba. So that's it. See me again when Kenobi comes out, maybe, or if the Bad Batch comes out first.
As far as I know, we are going to get a big Clone Watch W when it comes to Queen's Hope. So there's that.
Da 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 da. Hi, and welcome to a new segment, which is kind of similar to another segment of ours. If you've listened to our podcast, you know, is it Legends or did I just make it up? But this new segment is two canons and a legend, where I have brought two canon facts and a legend fact to the other hosts, and they have to guess which one is from Legends, because I thought we always talk about the weird funky stuff from Legends, and I want to talk about some fun stuff from canon once in a while. It's a Legends from a different point of view. That's very good. Sorry, Mel just put that in the chat. But anyway, are y'all ready? The first fact. The prototype cloak field generator was a cloaking device used on Darth Maul's scimitar, or Sith infiltrator, which allowed him to easily infiltrate virtually any world undetected. Fact number 2, the Mandalorian Civil Wars were a series of conflicts that Jango Fett participated in at some point before he was hired by the Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus to be the clone template for the Grand Army of the Republic. And fact number 3, B2 was an R-series astromech droid who accompanied Jedi Master Jocasta Nu in the days following the proclamation of the New Order.
Okay, I would like to say that the one about Jango participating in the Mandalorian Civil War is Legends, and the other two are canon.
I would agree with that.
I thought it was two Legends and one canon.
No, it's two canons and the legend, Claudia.
Jesus. Okay, then yeah, the Jango one is Legends and the other two are canon.
I agree.
Well, you're all wrong, because it's actually the prototype cloak field generator was Legends.
Wait,
Wig.
so Jango
Django canonically
Oh.
actually did participate
No,
in the
because
Mandalorian Civil Wars.
I knew it. I knew that was the case, and then I got panicked. Okay.
The next set of facts. Lava crystals were a type of crystal that could be found on the hellish world of Mustafar. Fact number 2. Crystal storms were a type of weather which occurred on the mineral planet of Crate, the crystalline planet Christophsis, and the desert planet Selos, where the storms were a hazard. And fact number 3. A crystal snake was a venomous reptile native to the moon, Yavin 4.
I think 3. I'm choosing the one with the snake. I think
I am
that's a
also
legend.
picking the crystal snake as the legends one.
What was the first one again?
The first one was lava crystals were a type of crystal that could be found on Mustafar.
I'm gonna say that one's legends.
I'm also going to say that one's legends.
Well, 2 of you were right, and that's Ollie and Noah.
Are you
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like I just don't know when they would have had time to talk about a crystal snake.
Yeah, I also was just thinking, I mean, the middle one was nice because I was like, there are glass storms on other planets. This isn't that far of a stretch.
The last set of facts, they're Bacta related because I was thinking about this episode. So Bacta spray was a form of Bacta designed to be discharged from a pressurized container. Fact number 2, Bacta bulbs were a type of medical device which made use of Bacta. And fact number 3, the Bacta Company was a company in the Grand Army of the Republic made up of clone medics.
I think I'm going to say back to company. That sounds silly.
I am also going to say back to company because the other 2 just sound like methods of dissemination, and I'm not sure why one of those would be canon and the other wouldn't be.
Back to company sounds like the kind of weird what is it? Clone commando bullshit that was in Legends. So yeah, I'm gonna say that was Legends.
I'll say the first one.
Unfortunately, Mel, you're wrong. Ollie, Noah, and Claudia, you're right.
Wig.
Oh my god.
This is going to be the first game that I win consistently on this show.
Yeah, so Ollie and Noah have tied for our first ever
my
2
God.
canons and a legend.
Love that for us. Welcome to our favorite segment, which is Name That Ship. The way that Name That Ship works is that one of our hosts will take a fan fiction that we found on AO3 and list the tags, maybe the description, maybe the title, and our other hosts will try to guess who the main ship is. And just so you guys know, we do have a form in our episode notes. If you find a fan fiction, you can go ahead and submit it there. So yeah, it's a lot easier than just like DMing it to us, so that way we don't lose track of it or anything. So let's get into it. I have brought one today, and I'm going to say this one is actually not cursed. I think this one's actually kind of fun. The tags on this are character A and character B. Character A/character B. Character A, character B, different character who will give it away. Bounty hunters, psychometry, electrocution, binders, which like I mean handcuffs, I assume, heartbreak, kissing, off-screen sex, childhood best friends.
Quinlan Voss.
Quinlan Voss is not one of the
Ah,
characters.
Is one of them
Good.
Cal Kestis?
One of the characters is Cal Kestis, yes.
Huh?
Is the
Do you
other
guys
one-
want to hear the summary?
Is it a
I would love
is it a
to.
bounty hunter? The other
Cal
character?
Kestis runs into an old friend at the abandoned Telosian Jedi Academy during his search for a Jedi artifact.
So is it
Okay.
Jedi?
Yeah.
Not a bounty hunter.
Nope.
Is this
Who is
character
it?
a guy also?
Yes.
Who is in Cal's Padawan class?
Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah, it's Cal Kestis / Kanan Jarrus.
Oh!
Okay, actually?
Yeah.
I
No, and here's the thing.
like that.
Here's the thing. At first I was like, they have kind of a weird age difference because Kanan is just a little bit older than Cal. Not like 2 years, like 2 years older. So I was like, that's kind of whatever. But then I thought about it, I'm like, this is where they are childhood best friends. And I'm like, that's kind of everything. Because I also do believe that Jaro Tapal and Depa Balaba would have been besties. I just thought this
I
was like a
agree.
fun little fic.
That was good.
It's a fun ship.
This was submitted by Claire Kenobi, Fulcrum Pod co-host. Shout out. Thank you for, for sending this my way. It is a crossover, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you were never going to guess it, but I want to force you to try. The tags are character A, character B, alternate universe, Star Wars setting, rare pairs, like really rare, woke up with this idea and had to write it down ASAP, ridiculous, this is why we can't have nice things, one shot, and I will say that this is a Disney property that it is a crossover of.
Please don't say Encanto.
So is one of the characters from Star Wars?
Yes.
And then the other characters from this crossover property?
Yes.
So to be clear, it's not a clone and then an assorted gothic horror monster from ancient Western literary canon.
No, it is not. I can't say
okay.
that it is. Now, this is what I will say. This is the summary. What if a film that came out in 2021 happened on Coruscant rather than in London? Yes, there are a certain breed of dog, Chihuahuas, and other street terriers in this Coruscant. What
Is this Lady in the Tramp?
I was
What
gonna
is
say
this
this lady
character
in the tramp.
without her dogs?
Is this Cruella?
No!
It is Cruella DeVille.
This is
Cruella DeVille 2021.
But with who?
okay. So it's girl boss Cruella. It's
Is it with a woman?
esoteric pussy Cruella.
Is it a woman?
Not a woman. What did you say, Noah?
Okay, so for some backstory, earlier this week, I woke up and immediately texted Claudia showing up to the function with only the most esoteric pussy, and she responded, "Is that not the plot of Cruella?"
What the fuck?
I hate you guys. Anyway.
Anyway,
Am
okay,
I wrong? You're gonna
So-
look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong?
so Cruella's in the ship, right? Is it
Yes.
Asajj Ventress?
No, it is not a
No,
Sasha.
it's a-
It's
is
not
it a man?
It is a man.
Oh,
Are they a clone?
No,
Okay.
A
Are they a Jedi?
they are not a Jedi.
Is it
Are
Thrawn?
they a bounty
It
hunter?
is not Thrawn. It is not a bounty hunter. Not a politician.
And they're not a bounty hunter.
Not a bounty hunter.
High Republic era?
No.
Prequel era?
Prequel era.
I'm so sorry.
Are they force sensitive at all?
Yes, they are force sensitive.
Sheev Palp? No, it's not a politician. Oh, fuck.
Is it Sheev Palpatine?
It is not Sheev Palpatine.
Is
But
it
they're force
Darth
sensitive.
Maul?
It is Darth Maul.
Okay, wait. Why is that
Okay,
kind of
but-
it?
because here's the thing. My next question was going to be like, is this somebody that Cruella would be like experiencing contification with? And the answer is yes.
Okay, but if you think about it a little bit, if you think about the plot of Cruella 2021,
Which I've absolutely seen.
which I have seen, and it's not a good movie, but if you think about the plot of that movie, and then you think about Maul's arc, where he then turns on, his mentor or whatever, are they not a bit the same?
You're
my
right.
God.
I
And
love the
it's
part.
so
I love the
true.
He
part.
goes a little crazy.
I love the part in Darth Maul's arc where his parents are killed by Dalmatians, and then later he's pushed off a cliff, and his dress
are
opens
the
up
ones
to
Sheev
make a
Palpatine?
parachute.
Isn't
Are the
she-
101 Dalmatians not an allegory for the Jedi Order?
Thank you so much for joining us this week for RuPaul's Pod Race. Episodes usually drop on Sundays. Join us next week for our Book of Boba Fett wrap-up episode, and stay tuned for our High Republic Phase 1 plans. We have something very exciting in store. For updates, Star Wars news, and more curse shit, follow us on social media at RuPaul's Pod Race on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you really love the show, please rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or Overcast. It means a lot to us. May the Force be with you, and don't griff it up.
Waka
Waka
waka.
waka.
Waka waka.